Yeah, no, this week is the archery tribe. Hoodrick starts off with archery, but they're also known just for their fantastic resources all around, going into the hunting branch forestry mathematics. That's something that's better than even some of the tribes like Zabasi, just for the fact that you can really optimize your market spots since you're given the option to chop those forests and really you can dictate everything. That's one of the most difficult and most challenging parts about it because the choices that you're making in the early game, on like turn 3 and stuff, are going to be things that you have to plan out till turn 8. Like, am I able to afford this? What's the optimal move for this? Am I going to grab this village or not? So it makes it very difficult for them to play on occasion. It all depends on what's going on in the map, but they're very challenging, very rewarding tribe.
Now, kind of funny. There has been some allegations about you and Justine Linguini and those sorts of things, and we'll discuss those later in the show. We'll have to leave those for later. But how you were saying to me beforehand that you expected these games to go on slightly longer, right? Because of how Hoodrick's set up.
Yeah, I mean, Hoodrick can be a very quick tribe. They can also be a very long tribe. They want to play economically if they're allowed to. One of these games we get might be a pretty long one.
Well, let's find out. Very
They
close they are,
also.
these two. They are off, and I'll hand it to you in a second to take us through the start. Now, let's not forget these are best of 3 games, which means no matter what happens in this game, we will see these two face off at least one more time. Of course, Hoodrick, starting out with that archery unit, take me through the start and what your initial thoughts are.
Yeah, so both players have been going after really the same idea here. Just expanding out with their archer safely. They're not pushing their archers towards the center because they know that there's the threat of meeting their opponent, and you don't want to meet your opponent with your squishy archer, which does not do well taking damage. You want to meet them with your warrior, especially a warrior with a defense bonus. But the archer, on the other hand, as we see there, takes damage of no retaliation, whole thing with the range. So Dux's warrior is not getting any village. Both archers are, but I'd feel like Dux a little bit more here. He was able to save a couple of stars early on with that lighthouse, so he was able to upgrade and get that warrior, which is going to be immediately useful in picking up some extra damage there. I feel like it could have even been a mistake to attack with the warrior. Like, once the warrior's at 6 health, you don't really need to go after it any further. But capturing with the archer, and Dux is just one tile short. His own archer not in range. If it were in range, he would be going for that siege. He knows that there's an archer on that village. But Dux does not want to contest, does not want to fight. He doesn't need to push himself in there. He's going to play a little more conservatively here because he really doesn't have anything. I mean, this is another thing which can make it difficult, or like make Hoodrick games go longer. Because the archers, immediately they have the forest defense bonus for all of their units. They also have, of course, the archer units, which are probably the best defenders in the early game. Like we saw there, if you try to push into their territory, you are going to take damage from the archers, and you're not going to deal any retaliation at all. So their armies are just going to stay fine, no matter how many units you push, until you have an actual concrete, I'm going to steal a city from you.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that,
There's no
because
real
we have
reason.
seen sometimes some players with the Hoodrick tribe, they tend to fall into that mindset of, oh, it's going to be a bit of a longer one. Tends to be not as much pushing because of the archers that you mentioned, and then one player is able to just sort of dive in the back because, frankly, the other one just didn't anticipate that kind of thing happening. So, as you said earlier, like, the games can be quite quick as well, and it sort of depends how they're going to set up to see which one it's going to be. But I think I think we know.
I mean, this is interesting with just the shape of the lake. It feels like both players are really cut off from the rest of the map.
I like it. I really like this one. This is my favorite map so far.
Yeah. Like, it feels like they would be forced to fight each other.
Yes, which is going to be
if
interesting
not
with the
for
archers
fact,
early.
Just like how the villages are set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they're so far away.
Gets a veteran swordsman from that ruin. How impactful do you think that lone swordsman is going to be?
By the time he gets into the game, it's going to be coupled with some giants. So, I think what the really big thing here is that it just pushed the archer in range of the village. and now it allows this 1 health warrior to just keep expanding up north, which is what Ducks wanted to do anyways.
Would have been a
Grab
more
as many
useful
villages as
ruin, do you think?
possible. Like stars, mathematics.
We've seen them
I
sort of
guess they're both 10 stars.
be pivotal for games, obviously. But obviously you can only use what you're given. You're still favoring Ducks here?
I like Ducks' position. I mean, if you just look at the villages that they have, he's got 2 villages already at level 3, despite not being the host player. So he has that 1-turn like initiative loss. He's like down a village right now because of the way he expanded up. He pushed towards the center and it didn't end up working out for him. But it was really no problem. He's going to make up for it with this village. And looking at, his late game potential, like, I mean, just look at the stars right now. He's down a village and you can't even tell on income. He's down 1 single star per turn. He's going to buy mathematics much more cheaply and then start pumping out giants before Majak here. Majak's in a position where, he's able to defend, but you don't really want to have back foot. Way more than it does for Majak over in the west. But we'll have to see like what vision, whatever the land looks like up there, for how that goes. But I feel like Ducks has the lion's share of this opening. Majak's got some plans. I think the organization pickup was interesting. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, like you want to grab that, but organization's just one of those techs where it doesn't really matter when you grab it. It's not going to be super expensive early game or late game. It scales really nicely. Mathematics is something you want to pick up as soon as possible. And we're going to see, Ducks setting up his sawmill spots. This huge level 5 sawmill. He does have the market spot over to the east of that as well, eventually. Every game of Hoodrick turns into markets competition. But got another 4 stars right now. He could chop something and go for a workshop over on Lori, or he could go ahead and pick up an upgrade on his capital. And looks like he's going for the workshop right now. Take 2 extra stars per turn instead of just 1. So all very sensible stuff right now in his upgrading. The only thing I'm wondering about is, does Ducks have the stars to go ahead and pick up an upgrade on his capital next turn? And I forgot about his Park of Fortune. I assumed that he would use it somewhere else, but no, he's going to use it up there. 5 stars
Border
back. Get both upgrades. Border growth, and now he's got 2 pretty solid market spots. Got a market spot the northwest of this sawmill, east of the one on Burley, and then another market spot on Lori if he puts the sawmill southeast of his capital, and then southwest of the market, maybe. But, I mean, this is the kind of Hoodrick stuff that you're looking at optimizing for. Like, where am I going to put my sawmills? Where am I going to put my markets? And trying to make that work for you the best you can. But 22 stars for Majak here, so we're going to probably see a similar thing, just not quite to scale yet.
Yeah.
So no giant quite yet for Majak, but level 3 upgrade, mathematics. We do have going on the capital, and some actual like synergy with where the markets are going to be placed. Just that you can get some border growth on the capital, and then have the markets placed between the sawmills instead of just a single sawmill. So Ducks has the better sawmills, but the markets might be worse. Will it matter? Will Ducks be able to turn? Ducks is going to have to move quickly in order to take advantage of the fact that he's got these better sawmills, better giants, or faster giants rather. Giants are the same quality no matter what turn they come out.
No, I disagree. Fundamental, critical misunderstanding of the game there from you. Early giants equals better, and I know this.
Yeah, I was trying to trick the players at home. I didn't want them to know all the secrets. But they must be glad to have Leif in the booth to
Seasons, bro.
What
would you do then if you're Majak, right? And you're seeing obviously only what he can see. Let's not forget Fog of War is very important here. What are you trying to push towards? What's your key to victory?
I mean, you see the border growth there, and it's a double-edged sword. I mean, one, you're kind of scared of whatever Ducks has. You know that there's a giant that's going to be pushing into your city up there in the northwest, or at least northwest of your territory. And you have to figure out some way to defend it. You don't have too many more resources. Even if you get border growth, like you use your Park of Fortune, grab border growth. What else are you really able to do? But it's difficult to defend, but you start pushing out your own giant, you start making catapults, like anything to deal enough damage. You need to immediately save that city. And then once that concern is done, that you're not immediately losing that city, then you start looking at, okay, well you got border growth there, maybe I could start like cloaking that city. Actually setting up cloaks is going to be a whole other thing. Like you need to like clear out their units that are blocking you from actually attacking that city. But there is a path to victory. If he's able to defend himself and then able to put up some kind of attack like that. Ducks on the other is going to be good for getting the attack going, just with roads, like moving everything in sooner. But also on the path to markets, and I think we're probably going to see markets first, just because didn't grab any units. Like it's also just inconvenient the way the villages are set up to attack like that. So, and Dux doesn't have enough vision for like the security. So when your opponent isn't putting pressure on you like this, you can go ahead and just, yeah, there we go. We're gonna see the catapult get pushed in range to defend. But Dux has no pressure, so he's just going to bank all of his stars and go for like markets as soon as possible. Got 35 stars at the top of the turn. How does he want to use them? My bet's markets, but I've been surprised before, so. Yeah, roads and then grabs a ruin, hoping to grab trade out of that. Grabs it, buys it himself, and he's got enough stars to go ahead and put up 2 level 5 markets. The economy exploding, almost doubling the size of his opponents. And there we go, a rider on the capital, a tasteful little chop over on that east city. Yeah, we're going to see here is like, we get the easy attack, right? Like, you go after that attack, now you got your warrior has a defense bonus, and you didn't take any retaliation damage. The border growth is also going to be useful for, I mean, just look at this catapult where it's positioned.
You can't see
You're not
them.
really worried about his units, like, attacking you at all.
Dux can't see the catapult. You can't see it.
Yeah.
He's not ready. Also, shout out to that 1 health warrior, by the way. That's a long journey to make when you're on your last legs. It's dude has been inverse decimated. It's been pretty bad for him. Okay, so he spotted the giant. What do you think Dux is thinking at a time like this? Sees the giant, goes, okay, well,
Gonna give himself another defense bonus. I think he retreated his rider too quickly.
yeah.
I think he might have wanted to advance. He could have advanced his swordsman and then sieged with the rider.
Interesting.
But if he doesn't want to advance with the swordsman, and you know he doesn't want to put it in range of catapults in the fog or anything, so
He has put his giant.
little
into the
does he know
water.
it's already in range of the catapult.
Little does he know. We can't see. It's why fog was so important. He does put his giant in the water. Talk me through that.
He doesn't want to advance it. Yeah, he had retreated his rider too fast. He could have sieged here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that giant, it could be routed through the land and on roads, but the roads are expensive. He's focused on spending his stars elsewhere. He has a sawmill and market that he hasn't quite set up yet. At the same time, like you don't have to spend any stars to move 2 tiles if you just put it in a port. Also, you start working on your naval domination, which is important in a game like this with such a huge lake. And if we're looking at it, counting the water tiles, where is Majak going to contest him? On the 2 water tiles on this village he's just capturing right now? So, he was pretty safe. It just seems like, dump the 7 stars in, you're going to want to start getting on the water eventually anyways. And it's going to be cheaper than, picking up like 3 roads. So, this is, I find interesting that the catapult stayed on the capital. And banking all of those stars. So yeah, Dux's push. He got a tiny bit of vision. He sees what's on the village over there, but he sees the catapults too, and yeah, not interested in going after it. I was interested to see if the warrior was going to capture, or if he was just going to push it west and capture up the swordsman. But this makes a lot of sense. He'll probably just road the swordsman west so that he can get on that other village up there sooner. Or just put it in a port. Also makes a ton of sense. Gets him to... Yeah, gets him a little closer. He'll get to the village at basically the same... No, yeah, he'll get to the village at the same turn. If he spends a couple of roads.
I like the emphasis on navy he's got
over
going
there.
on over here now. Grabbing fishing, chucking his units in the water. We do generally see that... my stats are lacking here, so it's anecdotal. We do generally see that the player that gets into the water faster is able to adapt a little better to oncoming traffic, is the best way to describe it. And obviously can use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
Riding road to
Here's
trade.
what we were banking all of those stars for last turn. We've got some pretty nice market spots that we've set aside for ourselves. Like these ones are both taking advantage of multiple sawmills in adjacent to them, instead of just one like Dux's markets. So where we started the turn off like less than half the income, we're bridging that gap and quickly. But Dux has the is just moving faster along this same route of development. So nothing wrong with what's going on for other players, just that Dux has started a little bit sooner. And if he's able to turn that advantage into something more or not is the big question for him right now. Because, I mean, looking at the map, he does have more income, he doesn't have an attack. He's building one on the water, but it is difficult for him to actually... It's a double-edged sword, the fact that Majak doesn't have any port access towards the center of the map. Just, it makes it difficult for him to get established on the water, which will probably make it difficult for him to, make big pushes there. But also, if he just sets up a bunch of catapults and stuff in the back, he can probably pick up spiritualism and block any knights with building forests, and then put up a bunch of catapults in the back, and then suddenly it's a question of, well, you got the water, but how do you push this? Could even be, and I know we dread the word, but stalemate-ish.
No, he said it.
Stall.
He said, right, shut it down. Well, it's that time where I have to tell you exactly what happens. These games are capped at 1 hour at the maximum. If they do go to the hour-long mark, then a judge's decision is taken to see who would win the game if it was played out to its logical conclusion. There you go. You happy now? See what you made me do?
I'm not too worried about that because I don't see the game progressing towards that bit. I mean, it is, a difficult way to push, like for a win for Dux, but I think he can gain a massive advantage, and that might be all he needs. If he's able to take the villages in the west from the water, which he is, I mean, depending on how all of that works out, depending on how well established Majak can get with those villages over there before Dux's navy approaches. There are other routes of attacking too, like if Dux gets his own cloaks. Right now Majak's trying to push, and I'm not sure what we're going to see with this push here. I feel like it's going to force, I mean, we've already seen the first catapult from Dux over in the east, but a few more catapults doesn't seem like Dux is sweating too much about these giants getting pushed towards him. Especially with all of the population he has on his capital. We might even see Houdini ideas in the future. But neither player's really limited in terms of income anymore. Like the markets, really cap some of the things. Like just being lacking stars, lacking funds is a huge thing for deciding who's going to win. But when both players start, printing off stars like it's Monopoly money, things can start to go long. And looking at the incomes right now, 37 and 34 stars per turn from just 4 villages, either player. No Grand Bazaars yet, even. They are well breaking that income curve. And we're going to see border growth up here. Get a little better market spot up in the northwest. Not enough stars to get that quite yet, but I'm imagining we're going to see a level 3 sawmill and a market over there next turn. We saw that swordsman get upgraded to a scout, but that was just for the mobility. Might re-enter the water and turn into a rammer before too long. So these catapults are defended. They're behind the zone of control of these two giants, acting like a big wall. I've heard it called a stop sign before. But they can't really advance too much more. And there we go, diplomacy. Yeah, Majak playing for exactly what expected. And this is why he was trying to gain that space with the giants. Push Ducks back with the catapults too. Don't give Ducks any space. Make it difficult for him to advance. Give your own cloak space to just start hitting that capital over and over. So there is an attack here, and he does have all the income that he really needs. Might get greedy because so we know that Ducks has vision on this Twee city over in the northwest. You would ordinarily you might want to train a cloak there, but if your opponent knows about it, and you know your opponent knows about it, you can't skip it. You can't risk. Like,
especially if they know that you know that they know about it. It turns out mind games real quick.
Yeah. So 14 stars left. What do you want to do with them? Yeah, just a shield. Okay, the shield might be a giveaway too.
You think?
As soon as you see someone with strategy, and they've got the market set up like that, you know that diplomacy's not far off. And if you have a border growth capital like that, that's vulnerable to a cloak attack, then you start thinking some things like, they have a cloak on their capital, don't they?
That
go ahead and.
I hope that he is thinking that. I don't. Maybe it's because I'm an idiot. My brain wouldn't instantly clock that. I just be like, there's a shield on the capital, and you or on the city. You create a whole storyline that I really hope is true.
I mean, Dux is someone. He knows. He's used this route before. Different tournament, different Polytopia tournament. The like live 2v2s. I was playing with a Viking against Dux. This is like the exact playbook he went for as Hoodrick. Get the markets up, then start spamming out the cloaks. So it's well within his like repertoire. Like, I'd be surprised if he sees a shield and doesn't think cloaks immediately. But he's not gonna have to think about it either, because this explorer is gonna go ahead and pick up that cloak on the capital. So if it was a mystery before, no longer. He's been elucidated. And I have got straight into this middle city. He's gonna go after a border growth there. I really want to see a border growth on that city. Steal like the one forest tile from your opponent. He could get like a nice like level 4 sawmill or level 3 market up there too. I don't know how he wants to take this on. He's out of stars for right now, but we'll have to see next turn. This is one of the, I'm gonna say, most fun aspects of the game. Like, you don't have to be competitive to enjoy this. It just activates that, you know, section of like your brain, your little lizard brain. You just see the cities get upgraded, and then they get larger, and they produce like bigger numbers, and it's just satisfying. That's one of the nice things about Hoodrick. Like, you get the markets, you know, break that income curve, and then you just start optimizing for how am I going to upgrade my cities as best as possible. Like, you just start playing like, you know, different genre of game. Not that these players aren't playing competitively.
Just a little bit of shade from one of the casters, that's fine.
No, I said not that. But now that the cloak has been revealed, the question is, and you're getting your giant that was doing so well with the zone of control, it's getting attacked now. The catapults are dealing some damage in the back. You're not doing anything about it. You don't have unending time where you can actually get these cloaks to go off. And you're capped at 5 daggers. If he could get more cloak attacks, maybe I could see something, but I feel like his west is too vulnerable, that he's probably going to collapse over there before his attack on the capital is able to really amount to too much. And also, these catapults are suddenly vulnerable, just from the scouts in the water. Yes, he's going to advance this one, but that catapult can still get taken out by a couple of scouts. How Dux wants to spend his stars remains to be seen. Oh, it feels like there's even potential if he I think it makes a lot of sense what Dux did attacking the giant there, but just to highlight a different idea, if he'd used that catapult to go after the defender, and then a couple of scouts, he could have used his rider to kill the catapult, bounce off the catapult, and discover the cloak, preventing it from infiltrating. But he has no way of knowing that the cloak is southeast of the catapult and not south of the giant down there. He might be going after a few roads here to actually even kill that 22 health giant. Now there's the bomber. Got navigation to pick up starfish ages ago.
And here comes the juggernaut.
The juggernaut, some splash. Like, you don't have your catapult anymore. You got nothing for me to be worried about. So, Border Grove City, you're going to see those daggers pop up on all of the tiles that provide defense bonuses. And there we go, the level 1. You see the Border Grove here? Beautiful. Beautiful Border Grove. And chopping because he wants that level 3 market there too. The extra population is no concern to him because he has enough forest to fish. He can even chop and still pick up a giant on Inwa. So no need to keep another forest around and, you know, keep lower markets. He's taking a little think here. I think he might be wondering, like, he knows that the cloak is going to be in range. He's got a few catapults. He doesn't have the stars to get another catapult. Would be helpful in taking out those defense boosted daggers. But how he wants to advance up to him. He could even chop a forest. Like the forest double south of Inwa. Pick like a warrior if you wanted. Yeah, he's chopping that forest. Picking up a warrior. Sometimes it just feels good to call it. Yeah, the cloak is going to infiltrate. Taking its time though. Something you might see as a little, I'm not sure, I call it a tactic. The little mind games on how you play the. You might want to delay something like that towards the end of the turn, if it's unexpected. Give your opponent less time to plan out. And the daggers are always unexpected just because of where they end up landing. It is algorithmically controlled, but there's no one on this planet who has the spawning algorithm for where daggers are placed memorized. Maybe Dux does though, but just seeing where the daggers are and planning out like the best way to take care of them is nice for his position. He's got the 3 giants in range of the daggers that he can use, and then the other 2 daggers can take out with catapults if he really wanted to. So no retaliation, just the 3 damage on the capital giant.
What's your percentage chances at this point?
I mean, I'm gonna give it like 90% to Dux. I still have that 10% that something could happen, but you know, it seems like the strongest attack that I could figure out anyways. Yeah, he's gonna go into Chivalry next. Is Cloaks. Chivalry after Cloaks makes a lot of sense, but like if you're looking at like what the barriers towards these Cloaks are, right? There are 2, the catapults and the giants. The problem is the giants are also going to be barriers for the knights that he's making right now. It's hard to see where he gets a strong enough attack to actually push through, especially if his west collapses and he starts, you know, having to deal with bombers. There was one point I was talking about the possibility of he's gonna disband and chop everything to get another cloak and keep that chain alive. But how much is he getting out of it?
I don't feel like
using
too
the
much,
bomber
to be
too.
honest. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think that these daggers and
Star
things are
Run,
doing
yeah.
too much here.
Oh, he's going to giant push forward. Okay. There's some style points for Dux here. I wonder how he wants to get this last population. He could pick up his killer monument here. He it looks like he should be able to pick up another 4 kills. But yeah, he's just gonna use the Grand Bazaar. Push that giant forwards and take it out. And now he sees that little icon. He's got a rider way in the back that can it can get pushed forwards in range so that it's able to. Yeah, I think he has to by climbing here, but he's able to bounce his rider off of that dagger over in the south if he wants to. Just place down a couple roads and keep climbing. Yeah, how do you want to deal with this? Does he even care about potentially discovering the cloak?
He does have to
Okay,
deal with the cloak and daggers. Like, they're not, in my opinion, they're not the most impactful sort of thing in front of him. It does feel almost like a bit more of a stall than it is like an actual offensive. I'm happy to be corrected on that. So yeah.
Yeah, if I feel like he needed to push with those catapults. I mean, the only ways that he had to defend against like the giant push from ducks, which, I mean, just look at the giant count, like one giant over on yellow side versus like Duxy Boys blue, like giant in the water, 5 giants over on the land. No catapults to counter them. Disbanded everything for a knight and a cloak. Got another 3 population. Just 1 pop off. Another giant. They just advance another bomber. Make it really easy to deal with the daggers. And we're seeing absolutely 0 naval.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's just there's no response. The sea is his, and it's hard to see how you're gonna. It's hard to witness how he's gonna be able to deal with those naval units. Control the water, you control the game, and all this land stuff is all well and good, but the second he starts to seriously push with those boats, it's game over. That's quite fun though. More of them.
Yeah, you weren't able to kill all of my daggers last turn. Well, was able to, chose not to. Oh, he's gonna get a spite border growth here. Yeah, steal the 1 forest from that city. Okay.
You don't approve?
I approve. I approve. But it's just like it's the kind of petty move where you look at it, and even if it's completely accurate, even if it's the right thing to do, you recognize that it's just got some like I'll say sassy energy to it.
It does a little bit. At least he has a bit more of a naval presence now. Obviously, a giant over there. He's got something in the water at least. It's a collection of logs right now, but he has something.
Yeah, he knows where he needs to advance. It's difficult. I mean, the big thing with the border growth there too is he's prevented the swordsman from taking advantage of the road west of that city. That swordsman could just road in and take out the rider or the raft. I think Ducks might have done it because the village was kind of terrible regardless. No saving it.
Yeah.
There we go. The bomber's just gonna take out 2.5 daggers. And then, yeah, Duck's going in with his own knights. He says, hey, all of your big beefy units, like all of your giants are vanishing very quickly, actually. I'm not really worried about...
There it is.
There.
Ducks.
Yeah, good
with
game.
A victory, and one that felt like it was coming from a long way out. Again, I think it was the naval presence for me. What did you think?
I think it was the Navy, and I think it was maybe even some of the plays that we saw over in the West.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was coming from a difficult position
Yes.
to try to advance, make progress on. Like doing what Ducks did just a couple of turns later.
Mm-hmm.
He had a slower time picking up his second village, and you can really see how that stuff compounds in like a Hoodrick on Hoodrick matchup like this. Like the markets are really important, and getting your markets up faster than your opponent is a huge thing. But seeing like that push to try to like make something of it, it didn't really work out too well. Like he's taking too much range damage.
Yes.
It's not really slowing down Ducks at all.
That's the threat you were saying the entire time, isn't it? Like the Hoodrick, from its very essence, throughout its embedded culture, is one that you have to pick your battlefields carefully. Your opponents will obviously always have ranged units, and it does favor a bit of a careful plan. And again, if you've got bombers on the water, not really much you can do if you can't contest those. To what extent do you think the cloak and dagger strategy was the right choice to try and cause a little bit of chaos, or do you think it was a bit more of a distraction?
It feels like it could have been the right strategy. I'm wondering if there was some kind of execution with it. I mean, the big thing is that he lost like all of his health on his giants, and as soon as those giants like vanished off the map, like there was nothing like blocking Ducks' own attack. Like when Ducks starts taking out your catapults, when you have nothing to like counter push and like further your own initiative. Because the giants being there just meant that the daggers really had no chance, and only having one city to attack with cloaks too just makes it really difficult when you're going up against ranged units that can just keep farming kills on these daggers over and over again, turn after turn. But maybe in combination of something else, it feels difficult for him to have contested on the water.
Yes.
But maybe if he'd put further more stars in there, worked on something on his west villages, he could have made something work.
And to be fair, it is easy for me to sort of sound a little bit superior, having, with the benefit of hindsight, going, yes, here's what should have happened. So let's pivot it a little bit. Ducks' gameplay. Did you see anything that maybe Ducks could have gone a little bit better? Do you think maybe some positioning mistakes or a different strategy that he could have employed? Obviously, he won with his own, so let's not pretend that it wasn't a good one. But is there anything else that you saw that could have been improved upon, or something that could have changed?
I think it was really clean. There's an advantage, I'll call it like a little invisible advantage, because there's the objective position, like how strong it is. But then there's also the advantage of like, is your position easy to play? One of the strong things about Hoodrick is that, you know kind of what your strategy is going to be, that you're going to want to go for, play defensive, like shell up in the early game, get those markets set up. And if your spawn is just allowing you to do something like that, then go ahead, take like that advantage and just go with it. The only thing I think he could have changed is if he goes into the water, if he wants his killer blow to be on land instead. But it feels like the water was just the appropriate play there. Like as soon as things start collapsing in the west, is when Majak decides to go ahead and call it quits.
Yeah, and again, even a giant in the west is just like you say, a little bit of a petty move to have that village there. But let's not forget, this is a best 2 of 3, so Majak does have the opportunity to bring one back. Let's see if he's able to do it in this game. Take me through the start.
Yeah, so I think we might see this archer head straight towards the center of the map. It's a little more aggressive, but what you're always looking for are the resources. The resources are actually spawned in by the villages, so it's impossible for them to be more than 2 tiles away from anything. The higher concentration of resources, more likely you're going to find a village. And yeah, he's heading straight towards the single animal that he sees that's in a useful direction. I'm not going to go ahead head towards the edge of the map where villages can't spawn. But the question is what he wants to do with this warrior. The archer's going to go east. It could go north as well if he wants to play it a little more conservatively, but if he doesn't know where Ducks is, Ducks being in the north, north is no safer than east for the archer. So he's got a lot to decide. Yeah, he's going to push east. He does find the village. Now what does he want to do with this warrior? Go north or south? And he chooses south. And this makes sense. If you see, 2 forests versus 2 field tiles, they're equally likely to actually have a village. Forests are part of the terrain and not resources, not spawned in by anything. But the forests are just more useful if there is a village. And fortunately, he's going to find a village here. Unfortunately, unable to pick up another unit, and Ducks goes ahead and grabs it with the archer. I think this still works out in favor of Majak anyways. Because Ducks doesn't have time to actually capture the village. He might have time though to capture and keep the village. He can't defend this. He is able to capture on the next turn, as long as he doesn't attack here, but why would he?
We'll say both these players tend to take their time, which obviously with Hoodrick is a good thing. You need to be very meticulous in nature, but as compared with what we've seen from players like Willibom or Arthur previously, it's going to be interesting to see how this sort of clash of styles comes up.
Oh, absolutely. What's he want to do? Yeah, he is going to take an explorer here, and ooh, perfect direction for getting vision on Duck. Not going to grab the South Lighthouse though, and that's not what you want to see. He's got a few more villages back behind him. It is going to be awkward to explore like that, but he does know that he's safe to take this village over in the west. He's got to feel confident there. Duck, for his part, is almost certainly going to go ahead, buy forestry, and chop these two forests after capturing. And he's going to leave it as a village with a bunch of field tiles and a single fruit. So, a village that neither player really wants to have. There we go, there's the forestry, and do you see the two chops immediately? Yeah, immediately. Get 5 stars, could have picked up something else, but wants to get this upgrade. The Explorer fuel is appropriate since it's going to go ahead and go north. There are just more fog tiles to the north than the southeast. So get great vision on Majak, and it's already feeling tough for Majak again. Like they are going to have, Majak's going to have more villages immediately, but the question is, because he's already delayed, yeah, he's trying to expand. He knows that he doesn't have, his future is not in going for the attack. He's trying to expand, but he's cut off by a lake up there. He's got a few more tiles that he's got to run through before he can go ahead and grab stuff. So Dux is going to be down villages immediately, but going to equalize and then surpass my village count with these 2 villages over to his east. Already upgrading further. He doesn't have the kind of anchor of a city that Lolo is, because it's going to be like you're going to be wanting to pick up your techs like mathematics and trade, and the city's going to Lolo is going to increase the cost of those 2 techs by 3 stars each, and only be producing 1 star per turn. And it's not like there's a future where it starts producing more than 1 star per turn either, until you have roads and org.
So how do you think you should treat with it?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes it like forestry. I think this was the right play for Majak there. You're going to want to upgrade your own capital. You don't have the stars to do that quite yet, but you just get your own capital upgraded. I think you have some small advantage right now, like at this stage of the game, just in the fact that you have more villages. And this early on, more villages just means more units. If you treat this like you would like a game of like Hoodrick Bullet, and you just train only archers, every city only archers, and you just push only archers into ducks, and try to pressure those cities as much as possible. If you're able to get that push, and he only has 2 cities to train units from you, you're training from 3. Maybe you can make something happen. The problem is the cities are just so far away. Like, an archer trained on the capital right now. It was like it's just late. Okay, equalizing the city count. Once Majak grabs that city, it's just uncovered. What does he do here? Dux recognizes that he's weak in the unit department, so trains enough units that he's still able to buy mathematics before capturing this southern city. Oh! Okay, he's going to advance and get that warrior kill there. It's nice to have the defense bonus. Giving up, he doesn't have, if he had more stars to train units, right? If he had a couple more archers he could train, I would support this like 100%. The thing is, he's giving up some easy damage on his own archers here, and he's allowing this 8 health warrior to advance towards his capital. He doesn't really have much else to do. Oh, is he going to chop? Yeah. You can chop and pick up his own warrior, and this is going to What this does is it blocks. The warrior would have gone east to pressure the archers a little bit more. You could have seen Majak move in with his own archers and attack. Like he'd have 2 8-health archers against the 2 4-health archers and a single warrior. He would have only lost like one of his archers the turn after, trained some more units. It would have worked out for him. But now with this extra warrior here, that it's a very small difference. It's subtle, but world of distinction. Now suddenly Dux is pushing him back. Like he picked up a warrior kill, and his own warrior isn't even getting killed in retaliation.
Mike again taking his time, bit by bit by bit. Again, a single moment, like you're pointing out, can be disastrous. So he's definitely making sure he doesn't want to make any really mistakes here. But I want to point out something you said about a month ago, 2 months ago even, which has stuck with me ever since. And I'm not talking about our DMs. You said that it's good to make your opponent think on their time. You know, and that's something that we'll start to see more here, I think. Now that Majak took a long time, Dux had already planned out his moves. You can see him moving very, very quickly, and then suddenly Majak's done. Majak's turn is up again, and Majak has to think on their own time again, allowing Dux to make his own moves. And that time pressure does get to you. It is rare that we see some of these players not get a move done because of the turn timer, but it does mean they have to move a little bit faster, and they are more mistake prone.
We just saw something really sad there.
Oh,
With the animal being chopped over on that tile southeast of Lego. But it's allowing this giant to come out on Layik this turn instead of the next. We have a Park of Fortune too, which I'm imagining Dux might just drop on his capital, along with the sawmill over there. Dux also positioning his units to harass the warrior over in the west. I'm imagining Dux moves his own warrior west, sees where he goes in the fog, and says, "You wanted that ruin? Not this time." I think Majak was really hoping that Dux just wouldn't see that. Fortunately, Dux had the vision. A very good explorer from him on that Lewis City earlier on. How do we want to advance here? We have a Park of Fortune that we could use in a variety of ways. The border growth here even, but population growth is a much more sensible play. I was wondering if he would even wanted to take an explorer on Donalon to get the East Lighthouse, and would have already had a giant over on the capital. But where do we want to use that Park of Fortune, Dux? Because if you're not using it on your capital, yeah, there we go. I think Dux's decision not to get the Explorer and instead dedicate his Park of Fortune to that makes sense, though. Just for the fact that he had fog to his southeast, so the Explorer would not have gone in a straight shot. And there's a very good chance that he would have been losing that extra star per turn on a fairly low city count map like this, where he doesn't have the best market setup.
so what's your percentage on this one then, at this point? Turn 9, what are we looking at?
Already 75 for Dux. Maybe even more. I've seen the things get spun around here, but what we're looking at is both players have 4 cities. Again, it's Hoodrick, it's difficult to push, but getting space is important in battles of ranged units. Like, if you are forcing your opponent to defend, and they're not able to train units like Dux can train catapults on like any of his cities, right? And he doesn't have to fear like an archer coming in to take damage on it. Maybe if Majak bought roads already, he couldn't train an archer on Layik. And a better example, like Dux, what he's doing right now, training riders up in the front, and he doesn't have to worry about them. But we're not going to see that from Majak. And that's where, you know, controlling space and having the initiative, like being the first player to start attacking the opponent, is really important. But then, you know, the other terms of quality, like just the units that Dux has access to. Like he's got these giants, he's got his riders. Gonna start putting them on roads. He's just sieging. Like he sees the 2 catapults, he sees the archers, and Dux does not. Yeah, he's gonna start.
There we
pushing.
go. quick game, a quick victory, and comparatively a quick semi-final victory for Ducks, who